Northern California, late 1960s. The kind of place where people kept their windows open, trusted their neighbors, and believed danger was something that happened somewhere else. But then the letters started arriving. Not ordinary letters, but messages written in a calm, confident voice. A voice that called itself Zodiac. Behind that name was someone watching, waiting, and striking without warning. A person who turned quiet back roads into hunting grounds and newspapers into a stage, and tonight we're walking back into the darkness of that story. A story that remains unsolved. It began on a cold December night in 1968. A young couple parked at a familiar spot near Lake Herman Road, a peaceful place locals often used to escape from the world. They had no idea they were being watched. The stillness was broken by the sound of footsteps approaching the car, and then the night exploded. By the time investigators arrived, the attacker had vanished. No tire tracks, no fingerprints, nothing but 2 lives stolen, and a mystery no one yet realized had just begun. Police searched for motive, suspects, anything. But the crime felt strangely clinical, almost practiced. Silently, the Zodiac story had begun. 7 months later, another couple sat in a parked car enjoying the summer air. A man approached. At first, nothing seemed unusual, until he suddenly opened fire. This time, one survivor, a young man, lived to tell the police what happened. His description would become famous. A stocky man, calm, almost emotionless. But the true shock came weeks later. Newspapers across the Bay Area received 3 nearly identical letters. Inside was a chilling declaration. "This is the Zodiac speaking." Attached were cryptograms, puzzles the writer claimed would reveal his identity. He demanded they be printed on the front page, or more attacks would follow. A killer had just introduced himself. The Zodiac's handwriting became infamous, neat, deliberate, and strangely polite for someone describing such brutal acts. His first cipher, the 408-character cryptogram, landed on kitchen tables across California. Families tried solving it together like a twisted Sunday puzzle. It was eventually cracked by a school teacher and his wife, a message filled with disturbing philosophy and cold detachment. But one thing was missing: his name. More letters arrived, each one taunting police. "You will try to catch me, but you cannot." He wrote about his victims as if they were pieces in a game, and the world shuddered. The most notorious cipher, Z340, would stay unsolved for over 50 years until 2020, and even then it revealed nothing but more mockery. One warm afternoon at Lake Berryessa, a couple sat by the water, enjoying the sun. They noticed a man walking toward them, slow, deliberate. But what stayed in the survivor's memory forever was the outfit: a black hood, a symbol drawn across his chest, the now iconic Zodiac crosshair. He spoke softly, almost gently, telling them he needed their car. Within minutes, the situation turned nightmarish. The survivor's account became one of the most important pieces of evidence in the entire case. A rare moment when someone saw the Zodiac up close and lived. 2 weeks later, a cab driver in San Francisco was attacked. Multiple witnesses saw a man calmly walking away from the scene. Police stopped a man nearby, someone who matched the description, but let him go. To this day, many believe the Zodiac walked right past them. The years that followed were filled with theories, suspects, and endless questions. The most famous name was Arthur Lee Allen. A man whose behavior and statements raised suspicions. Investigators circled around him, convinced they had found the truth. But handwriting didn't match. Fingerprint comparisons failed, and despite decades of interest, no physical evidence ever tied him to the crimes. Other suspects came and went, each one adding layers to the legend. Old letters were re-examined, ciphers were decoded by amateurs, professionals, and computer algorithms. Movies and books fueled public obsession. But every path led to the same place, a dead end. The Zodiac didn't just commit a string of crimes. He built a myth. He understood fear. He knew how to control a city without ever showing his face. His letters were weapons, and his identity became the greatest puzzle of all. Decades later, the case remains open. The symbols remain unsolved, and the man behind the mask, if he ever wore one, remains a shadow. The Zodiac story isn't just unfinished. It's a reminder that sometimes the most terrifying villains are the ones we never catch.